Welcome back. I mean, it's been a minute. 2024. It's Laro. I'm with my boy Nate.
What's up?
We're doing the podcast. Man, we have a lot to share with you guys. We got a lot going on. Nate, how were the holidays? How was the fam?
It was great. Yeah, great Christmas. Pretty low key for New Year's Eve this year, but it was exciting. It was an exciting first season.
Man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Christmas for us, my family, everybody's good, everybody's blessed. So thank God
fantastic.
for that. But we do got some nice little stuff that we want to share with you guys. We'll get to that toward the end. Yeah. But let's just kind of wrap up the 2023 season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good that happened. Some great awards. I know we left you guys at the end of the regular season. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to keep you guys too long because we're ready to get into 2024. We got a lot of changes. Yeah. But let's just start off by talking a little bit about the play-in.
Yeah.
We announced the MVP, 2 days ago? Mm-hmm. It was Lamar. Lamar had a freaking treacherous 3-game stretch. I mean, one that I haven't seen in a really long time.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't seen the interviews that Larry was doing with him, you got to
priceless.
It's
priceless.
Prime Lamar.
Right. So, but let's just go through the stats. The first game, they played 8 pillars. 8 pillars were definitely the highest, or the second highest seed of all the teams that were playing in the play-in. Lamar and them were the second lowest because it was the Mud Dogs and then Lamar and the Triggers. Yeah. And Lamar had 26, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. He went 10 of 19 from the field, 4 of 12 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the line. And they won pretty handily. I think it was pretty obvious. Yeah. Then the next game they played Nephilims, and that was going to be a battle between AJ and Lamar, 2 of our city's best shooters. And good basketball player, good basketball game. Lamar ended up dominating that game. He had 35 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. He went 14 for 25 from the field, 4 for 14 from 3, and 3 for 3 from the line. And then in the biggest game, which is Terror Squad, which is we always knew they were a top 4 team.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they didn't forfeit their last couple, they would have been in the top 4.
Yeah, had some scheduling stuff come up at the end, and so they forfeited a couple games. They would have been the number 2 or 3 seed.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And so he had 40, 10 assists. 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 13 for 18 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and 8 for 9 from the line.
So that was a great game. Terror Squad did not go away.
No.
I know they got down fairly big
15,
a couple times,
just
but then
fighting.
they came back like they do. But Lamar, he just went stupid that whole tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, he was. I was having fun watching it.
Yeah, and that was a great thing. I was interviewing and doing all that. And he just put on the show. I mean, he averaged 33.7, 5.3 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 1 steal. He went 37 for 62 total shooting, 14 for 36 from 3, 13 for 15 from the line in those 3 games. So, he did
phenomenal.
Yeah,
exactly what we look for, right? Like, I mean, super efficient
games.
And just. The level of scoring and just also the assist and everything. I mean, he was controlling the game,
right?
For sure.
And so he got the unanimous MVP. There was no question
for the play-in,
right? For the play-in tournament. So congratulations, Lamar. You guys
expecting much more wins from you guys in the regular season.
A 2-win regular season.
That was crazy.
Yeah, y'all shouldn't even been down there. But we will shout out. Great job. You got your team to the Final Four
for sure.
And I mean. Is there anything you want to say to wrap a bow on that whole play-in scenario? I mean, I know this next year we're going to go big.
Well, I think the fact that they only did win 2 games, and then they came in and they won every game besides the Terror Squad, and even that I think the final score
ended up being
was
over
like
10
plus.
Yeah.
So they came in and dominated most of the teams. A couple teams they actually lost to in the regular season, and that just goes to show you in our league. We've got those guys that they rise to the occasion. I mean, and that's prime Lamar, is that in the regular season, I won't say he doesn't care about winning. He always wants to win. But he's in the biggest moments, he's going to show up. Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that are like that in this league. This next guy we're going to talk about, he's another one that in the big games, he shows up. Right.
And, I think it's obvious, Marcus Williams, we're going to get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
We ended up having the Final Four of,
the Final Four was us versus OTB.
Right, which was 2 versus 3.
2 versus 3.
And then Lamar coming out of the play-in with Triggers with a 4 seed, and they played the 1 seed, which was Flavio.
That's right, yeah.
It was a little little scuffle going on in that
so
game.
So the first game was our game.
Right. We played OTB.
We won that fairly handily.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a good game. They
always give us a good game,
but it was never really in question for the first time. Like it was just whether we were gonna win by 15 or we were gonna win by 7. You know?
And that's not to say they didn't play well. We played pretty well that game. Right. And Lamar and Raul played really well. I think that game. Larry, and
I didn't play too great, but
they played. They played good,
right?
And so that was a good game. We always have a good game with them, and I don't think we beat them. I think the score was 10, maybe 12 points.
12 points. It wasn't never in doubt, so we were able to get past.
But we were able to get past them. But the next game, there were some fireworks.
Yeah, there was a little bit of fireworks. We had what it looked like is we had Flavios versus Triggers. And we got to about midway through the game. There was some fan interaction going on. You know, Lamar got hot. There's
a little scuffle.
Yeah,
we got past that.
Right.
But then there was
a bigger scuffle.
That we did not get past.
Right. And we had 2 ejections.
We did.
Mr. Londo.
Mr. and Londo.
Yeah, they both got thrown out. So there was a little bit of fisticuffs thrown, but in the biggest of moments, those where the emotions take you. You know what I mean? And we all as players know that the emotions can get the best of you. And, you know, when you got 4 best teams going at it for the prize of being the best team in New Mexico, it's going to get there sometimes.
Yeah, everybody's intense, and especially those guys, especially Londo. Londo's super intense. Mister's the same way. Well, everybody is.
Right.
And so it's easy to get that way.
Absolutely.
We tried our best to keep it apart, and Larry was down there breaking it up.
I was trying.
Only a few punches thrown, I think, thankfully.
Right.
But nobody was hurt.
No hospitalizations or anything like that. No parking lot fireworks and nothing like that. So I think both gentlemen handled it the best they could. You know, it happened.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing, you know, I think both of them were pretty apologetic because they know
that
that's not really their character.
No, I hated for them to miss. They both missed the rest of that game. There was still
and then the
10 minutes left, probably.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Flavios was able to pull out that win, and then they had to play without Londo, which he's a big part of their team.
Absolutely.
But rules are rules, fellas. If you do fight, you're out. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's unfortunately that's part of it.
Yeah.
But we've all been there. So.
Right. So I want to definitely just give the flowers to Marcus Williams. I mean, I think Marcus Williams got like the player
in both games.
Yeah. He dominated both games. Definitely against us. I'm going to speak on. I know we didn't do the Final Four MVP based on numbers. We did it on the last game.
We did.
So for the championship game, Marcus had 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 6 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 4 for 7 from the free throw line. So he really controlled the game, though.
He did. Yeah, Flavios is one of those teams, we've talked about it a lot through the season, where they're just so balanced. Like, they'll have 5 guys that are like 12, 15, 13, 18, right. You know, right in that range. So they're very good. Right. But Marcus is kind of the engine
that makes everything go.
Yeah, like he knows when to drive, he knows when to pass, and his rebounding. That was one thing. We don't have the exact stats for the game before, but I statted that. And I remember his rebound. He was controlling the boards. Right. And Marcus isn't a big guy.
No.
But he had more than 10 rebounds, I believe, in the game before this, and then ended up with another 9.
Right. And the thing about Marcus and that, you know, guards, if you're younger and you're trying to figure out what type of guard you want to be, one thing about Marcus is always going to, when a point guard gets the rebound, he can start the fast break.
Right.
You know, so if it's a long rebound, he's the one with the ball in his hand. And if he has one guy to beat, it's just him in the basket. If he can't beat that guy keeps backing up, he can make the pass to the wings and they can get shots. And so it's really tough when the guard is getting the rebound, because a lot of times when the big man gets the rebound, he's looking for that outlet and it gives you a little bit of time to get back. I can say for us, because we were the opponent, it was hard for us to get back. It was like the ball was ahead of us and we're chasing the ball down. And then if they don't got a layup, they go back to Marcus. Marcus gets in a pick and roll situation. Boop. Mid-range jumper to the basket, you know, breaking us down, taking his time, dime here, you know. So it was just all in all, because we voted as a team, you know, because we were his opponent. It was just like it was almost consensus. I mean, I know he got 7 of the 10 votes because Dom ended up really, really shooting well in that game.
Towards the end of the game,
I think he hit
struggled
4 or 5
early
threes.
And then closed it.
He had a sprained ankle or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Dom played well too.
Right. So
and so did Phil. Phil played well as well that game.
Right. And so did Jalen. That whole team just played really, really good. So
they did.
So it was one of those things where we're looking at it and for us, we're retooling.
They beat us fairly handily, and we usually have great games with them. We had a great game in the regular season.
They hit a game-winning shot against us in the regular season, and AJ in another, or not in the regular season. In the regular season, we did have a great game with them, and they beat us late.
Yeah.
But we were controlling that whole game.
We were, and then they came back.
But we played them in tournaments with that team being primarily their team, and us with maybe a piece here or there, and we beaten them in tournaments to win it all and things of that nature. So it's really a good matchup for us. We just
we love playing them.
Yeah.
And just to go back to Marcus, like his change of speed, and the fact that he could go every time, but that he picks and chooses the right times.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like he keeps all of his guys involved.
Right.
And that is because he could go against most defenders every time if he wanted to. Yeah, but he doesn't. But really talented player and very had a very good Final Four.
And I'm gonna say this, Marcus. Like I said on Facebook and Instagram. When you epitomize winning in New Mexico, it starts with him.
Yeah.
He's won about 8 or 9 New Mexico games in a row.
Yep.
He's won plenty of tournaments that we've been in. If he's not first place, he's right up there. And he's a guy that you want to be on his side when it comes to the big game. And it doesn't matter what teammates he has. It doesn't matter if Will Bynum is there, if Ramon Andrade is there, if neither one of them are there. Yeah. He seems to always get the most out of everybody he's playing with.
Well, he makes the right plays.
Right.
And almost all the time.
And it sucks, Marcus, because we're the same. Like, we're both guards, so we'll never play together. So you're usually the guy I got to go through to try to get something if it's not my brother, So, I consider him like a brother of mine. And Marcus, congratulations. What a great honor to be able to speak about you in this way. And, hopefully it's just greater things to come in the future, especially in our league and whatever you're doing in your basketball career. But
congratulations, Flavios. Congratulations, MVP, finals tournament MVP.
Right,
Marcus Williams.
And he got some merch. He did get some shorts. We also gave the whole team merch, and it's pretty awesome the way their shirts came out. It's pretty similar to this one.
Yeah, this is we're going to go over these as well, but this is kind of the shirts we gave to the winners. Obviously, for theirs it shows champions. But we thought these were.
And on the front, on the chest here, they have a basketball with each player's last name
with their name
and their jersey number.
Correct.
So, they came out really good.
Yeah. This is the one for the Prince of Thieves, the top steals. So we'll announce those here shortly. But everybody needs to come get your shirts. For those winners.
So we will announce who needs to come and pick up shirts. You can come to the Holiday Inn and get them. We can come together and try to figure out a time. Just DM us on Facebook or Instagram, whatever you prefer to use.
I'm anxious to talk about this one.
Oh yeah, I know you are. But we'll get to it in a minute. But let's just start with right now. Let's just talk about the all league teams.
Okay.
Now that we put the season behind us, we got our champion. One thing that I was a little bit disappointed in is I was hoping to have all these announcements done in the gym during the championship game, because the two teams that were in the championship, and I'm not just saying it because we were in it, it'd been nice to have a lot more fan interaction.
Right. Yeah, we were hoping a lot more guys would show up.
Right. So we were trying to hold off these teams so that way guys could come to the gym and they could be rewarded, and we could take a picture of all the first team guys, second team guys, third team guys, and then everybody all together, so we could have that, because moments like that, if you don't take advantage of them in that moment, they pass you by and you never see them again. So next season, we're not going to be thinking about who was the first or second team. We're going to be thinking about who's next season's 2024s, so it's tough, but that's what we were looking to do. And I think that's where I felt the failure was at, because it would have been nicer to have a little bit more of a fan interaction.
Well, so we're asking you guys right now, next season, when we're giving out the awards, we're doing this for you guys. Please, think about it. And I know if you're not playing, it's hard to come to a game. I get it. But come and help support this league. You know what I mean? And also get your merch and get your recognition. Because it is for you that we're doing it. But we also want, we want to have good games. And if you're fortunate to make it to the championship game, you're going to want a good crowd watching you play too, right? And I guarantee you that if we don't make it, we're going to be there. And we'll make sure that our guys are there too. So just think about that. And, we may do something a little different this year. We may do a dinner.
Or maybe go to like a restaurant
or something.
and have it all there. So that way, because what's most important is to just make sure that, and I think an important thing is to always make sure that we're seeing these pictures. Like, you guys got to remember, we just keep getting older. Like, a lot of us are not in our prime anymore. We're doing this as a courtesy, like, so that way we have something that we can call our own without having to go back to college, because none of us have eligibility, or going pro where we can leave our families. But we're trying to give that type of experience. And these photos and stuff like that, they last forever. You know what I mean? These are things that the people that you're going to be able to see, that I'm next to my brother in the first team. I'm next to a Daniel Holyfield, and there's no telling if this team is going to be the same. Next year, I could be third team, or just not even a team. So you don't want to take these things for granted. They're amazing things. They're amazing accomplishments. And because this is our league and this is a New Mexico thing, we want to make sure that our people are being seen and sought after, So, for sure. If you guys haven't checked those out, I'm not going to really spend too much more time on it. Go to the Instagram page, go to the Facebook page, go check it out. They're all on there. And in Instagram, they're on the stories, things right down there. So go check it out, because this year is going to be bigger. And that's what I wanted to explain to you guys about the moment. The moment that you have, you got to seize it, because next year, or this next coming season that we're about to talk about, there's going to be 180, 200 guys. And ain't no telling. Like, we had a 10-team season this last one. We're doubling it. Ain't no telling if you're going to be in there, because we got more basketball players coming.
That's right.
And then the summer's coming, and we got more basketball players coming who are playing in college.
And we're already hearing rumors about guys coming for spots.
Right. Some guys say he's coming for my MVP spot. But come on, dude. I'm ready for you. But you got to put a team in problems if you're coming to get my spot. Put the team in, so that way we can go battle it out. But those are things that this league is supposed to create. It's supposed to create something that gives us something to continue our passion in this. So, congratulations to all the first teamers, second team, third team. I'll just name their names out real quick.
I did want to touch before you did that. I had a couple questions from some guys on how we did the first team, second team, third team. So obviously our league is based on numbers, but we also, Larry and I watch and stat almost every game. And one of the things we did put a prime, a lot of importance on was being at the games, playing every game. So again, you may have some questions like, the second team guy, his numbers look better than the first team. Well, everybody that we picked on the first team played, if not every
90%
game,
of their games.
They maybe missed one game at most. So that was a huge thing for the first team. Their numbers are great still, but they did that over the actual full 8 games. Some of the players on second team only played like 4 or 5 games.
And we were teetering between whether 5 games or 4 games would do it. If I could do it all over, I would say you have to have 5 to be eligible. Because there was a lot of people who missed out who played majority of the games.
They did.
And the one thing we know about it is we play the game because we could go out there and score 0 any night.
Sure.
And so somebody who's averaging 25 points a game, they may score 0. And we don't know whether they're going to score 0 or not. But if they only played 4 games, and the other guy played 8 and his numbers were 25 a game consistently, or 23 a game consistency, we know what he did with his 8 games. The other guy, he could have a 14, but he could have a 37. But he took that away from us because he didn't show up to all of his games.
And I know a lot of you guys couldn't, but we just want you to know, again, and we're going to keep pounding on this. If you want these postseason awards, you want recognition, you need to be at the games. You need to come play, and we're gonna give you more love if you're playing all the games. Even if somebody's numbers might be a little bit better, just because if you can do it over 10 games, that just shows more, 8-10 games. So
So I'll go ahead and let you read off the first teamers.
Okay.
And I'll do the next.
Yeah, absolutely. First team was my man Laro here. He was on it, and then obviously Lamar was on the first team as well. We had Daniel Holyfield, and then Solomon. Congratulations, Solomon, first team. He led the league in block shots as well, and just overall solid. And then Londo was our sharpshooter as well, and he was the third guard, I guess you will, on the first team as well. So congratulations, first team.
And so what we tried to do, is we tried to take a point guard, a scorer, and a shooter. Those were the 3 guard positions that we tried to go with.
And then like a forward.
And then when we went down to the forwards, we went to the guys that are big enough to be a forward, but not a center.
Right.
And then the centers were just the space eaters.
Right.
So, there was a couple of guys who slid in there. So if you don't know how we're doing it, we're always going to try to keep it to a 3 guard. And most of the time we're trying to look for the best scorer, the best point guard, and the best, if he's a good shooter or whatever, specialist type of guy. So, that gives you guys a little bit of perspective when we go into,
there's nothing set in stone, but that's generally how we do it.
Right.
I mean, basketball's evolving to where it's like positionless,
right.
but yes, that's kind of how we tried to look at it.
Right.
Yeah. Guys that rebound, guys that score, guys that pass, guys that shoot.
Right. And so that was the easy way for us to do it, the easiest way. Because we could put all 5 guards on here, but that's not realistic. We wanted to put together teams that if we put these teams together and went to the gym, everybody would still be able to play and play their own role.
Yeah.
And you would be able to have these built teams and say, let's say first team plays second team.
That first team's tough.
Each other. Yeah. The second team is tough too.
Second team
is monsters too. So let's just go ahead and start on the second team.
Yeah.
Second team, we had Don Baca, and Don Baca, amazing numbers.
Yeah. He would have been first team.
He
Don
got
would have been
hurt.
first team.
Yeah. He got hurt throughout the season. He got hurt during the regular season, and then he rolled his ankle in the playoffs. So I think he cost himself an opportunity to be possibly the MVP. Definitely a first team. Yeah. He was on the trajectory to be first team, maybe even MVP of the whole league.
Yeah, he was playing
if he doesn't get hurt. So thank you, Dom, because I probably wouldn't have been MVP if you didn't get hurt. Then we got Raul, who played with us.
He did. Had a great season.
Amazing season. But again,
had to miss a couple
4 games. Yeah. You got to play a little bit more.
Right.
We were able to sustain some of those games, but I think we lost a game when he was there, but I think he gets these numbers are even higher if he plays, 3 or 4 more games,
for sure.
Because he's hitting 30, 27, so. Third guy is a guy that I really cherish, and I think I did an interview with him.
We did. We did. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and it's RJ Ortiz. And one thing about RJ Ortiz is he's from North, he's a barber, and he needs this, he said. He said this is he looks forward to going and playing against guys, and I've had some nice battles against him in Corrales too.
Yeah, he's like us. Kid. You can tell he's basketball.
He's a basketball. Right, basketball means something to him. Yeah. Phil McDonald, amazing overall season. Yep. I don't think Flavios could ask for more. He played inside, outside. He was just a matchup nightmare.
He's another one we had a real hard time, Phil. First team, second team, because you were there for most of the games. I think you did miss. That was the only reason, really, is we gave the slight edge. Because Danny and Solomon, I think they played every game. Right.
Yeah. And then this kid, Gary's son, Josh Jackson. Yeah. He plays at El Dorado High School.
He really
young boy.
Definitely.
But 17 a game, 13 rebounds a game, 1 point, almost 2 steals a game, led most guards.
Yeah. Young man led the league in rebounding.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so we felt like that should have been rewarded. He didn't play in enough games.
Right.
He came in after 3 games, I think. So he got about 5 games in. So those are things that, let's just say he has the next 2 games he plays or 3 games he plays, he has 3 rebounds a game. That 13 comes down.
It does.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
got to get you out there. You got to be out there to play, you got to play to really see what you got out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then lastly,
third team
is tough.
Third team is tough. Yeah.
I liked Marcus Williams, obviously, was the point guard. And Marcus Williams, it's not a slight on him at all. He could easily have been first, second.
Absolutely.
But, he didn't need to do as much.
Right.
3.1 assists, 5 rebounds, 16 points a game. When you're on the best team, it sometimes hurts you.
Right.
It hurts your numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
And because these teams are based on numbers, to be able to slide in there and get the third team point guard, I think that's something special anyway.
Absolutely.
And Mike Martinez, he played for Brick City. So they got 2 Brick City guys in there.
Yep.
Shot the ball really well.
He did. Yeah. He was in he was in the top 11 guys for 3-pointers.
Yeah, exactly.
3-pointers.
Almost 19 a game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Just played hard every single game. Didn't play on the greatest of teams.
Right.
But
they struggled
his contribution was big time.
Absolutely.
Now this guy, Arab made it because of his 3-point shooting. He shot very well. He averaged about 15 a game, but he played in every game.
Yeah. His assist numbers were good too.
And he had 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He's the only player probably in the league who was having double digit in points, at least 15, almost 15 points a game, 5'5". You know, so he's in the uncharted.
And he started slow. Like we gave him
he had
a
6
hard
points,
time,
3 points in his first couple of games. So toward the end of the game, this was more of an award that he got as time with the longevity and playing in all the games.
He played every game.
Right.
Again, that gave him a chance to rebound from those first couple rough games. Absolutely.
So the last guy we have, or the two last guys we have Jarrell. Yeah. And Jarrell Harper, OTB was a winning team. They won a lot of games. He was in the MVP conversation. So that was a lot of the reason why he made this team. He's kind of a flex player. Him and I would say A-Rab are both kind of flex players, guys that you could say were a forward, but you could also say they were guards.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They could guard a little bit bigger. They play a little bit bigger. They don't just rely on, just pure small, and, they're a bit longer, and they can go down low, and if they get the switch on them, they're not going to be a fish out of water if they get posted up by a bigger guy or anything like that.
Right.
And he had great numbers: 23 a game, almost 5 rebounds, 2 assists a game, 1 steal, and coming off the bench.
And he was coming off the bench. That was another thing.
That's huge. So let's just go ahead and announce he was the 6th man of the year.
He was.
So we don't have a league leaders for 6th man of the year. So congratulations, Jarrell. You got the 6th man. Come pick up your merch. I think it was called the Kingz Council.
The Kingz Council, 6th man,
Exactly.
So it's just like this, obviously, but you're the 6th man.
Right. Kingz Council and the 6th man of the year. And so one thing we want to say is we got to appreciate guys who come off the bench. It's a hard thing to do. Yeah. It's really pride. As men, we all have pride. Everybody wants to be a starter. But if you can come off the bench and still get numbers like this.
Absolutely. Well, he came off and did exactly what OTB needed him to do. Come in, score the ball off the bench.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And think about college teams, pro teams. They've got to have that guy.
Yeah, you have to. Because when it comes to change of pace and the game is starting to change, well, your starters are going against someone else's starters, but it's not when you can come out with a guy who's coming in fresh while the other guys are kind of faltering a little bit, and he can just take advantage. He's one of those guys who puts his head down and gets to the basket. That's a tough guy to guard when you're when you're a little bit winded when they're coming in, and that's kind of the way you have to design your team nowadays is you can't your starters aren't always going to be your best players.
You've told me that. I was going to tell you, you've told me that a million times. Yeah. Starters aren't always the best guys.
Right.
It's just about putting the team together properly.
So if you look at our team, I can't really speak for anyone else's team, but for our team, we need a guy to come off the bench who can score. Because with our starters, everybody can't just keep trying to score. Right. With our starting team, we need to be swinging the ball. We need to be playing together. We need to be catching a rhythm. Yeah. When the bench comes in, that guy should come in with his hair on fire, and he's just like, I'm ready to get it.
Well, and what we're doing with our team, we're retooling a little bit. So our team's going to be a little bit different than it was last season. Right. And we've got 2 guys coming off the bench that could
score anyway.
Certainly be starters. Right, you know what I mean? So it's not, you know what I mean? We may even have 3 guys on our bench that could be
realistically,
starters.
We definitely.
But we're building the team to where we're going to have a rotation where there's no drop off, and that was what OTB did with Jarrell for sure.
And so then the last guy is Angel Parra. I know he's more of a tweener.
But he plays big.
But he played big.
Yeah, he plays big.
8.1 rebounds, 19 points a game, almost 5 assists. He was a do-it-all. We couldn't leave him off of this third team. No. And we had a couple of bigs that I felt we could have slid in there at the 5, but he guarded everybody's 5.
Yeah, he was their big.
He was their big. He might not be big in stature, but he was definitely their big. He guarded our bigs. He was a menace inside. If you drove in, more so than blocking shots, he was in your cookie, in the cookie jar. Yeah. So if you came off the pick, if you're getting to the basket, he's stripping it. He's not going to try to meet you up top. He's getting you before you can get up top.
Even though he's very athletic.
And he can definitely meet you up top.
He's going to struggle against bigger body back to the basket guys probably. Like Frank, some
Kenny,
guys like
that.
Those guys would probably give him trouble. But he didn't, he'll front the basketball. He's very active hands. Right. So again, he knows how to play against bigger. You can tell he's probably a guy that played on a high school team that didn't have a lot of size. Right. And he probably guarded the bigs in high school.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you're not going to throw it over the top. A lot of his skills come from you think, okay, I'll just throw it over the top of him. If the big catches it, he's got a layup, and he's jumping up and stealing that. And that's why he led the league in steals.
I noticed with him too. Again, when he is guarding the bigger size guys, he's very active hands. And for us guards out there that are looking to throw into the post, you'd be surprised. I mean, my coach always said active hands are going to discourage that pass. Right. That's very true. Right. You know what I mean? It's very true, and he knows that. So he's a great defender.
Right, and Terror Squad probably had the best defensive team in the league because they would press you.
Well, they were pressing. They were a bunch of kids.
Yeah, they were a bunch of young guys, so they never got tired. So they were a handful.
We could press on our team for maybe a minute or
Yeah,
two.
maybe 30 seconds. I'm not pressing nobody.
And then we take a timeout.
Right. And then we're gassed for the rest of the game, and you're gonna run through us.
You don't have to worry about the press from real
so
kids.
teams like him, like Terror Squad, y'all got a diamond in the rough. Y'all had a couple of guys on the first team. You know,
Absolutely.
You seem to have a couple of guys on the first team. So
Yeah, RJ was Terror Squad, was on the second team, and then Angel was on the third team.
So,
absolutely.
Anytime you can represent your team, that's great. So, congratulations to all the guys.
I believe every team was represented, weren't they, Larry?
Yeah, every team was represented.
Yes.
At one point or another, there was not a team that didn't have
each
anybody.
team.
So
congratulations to every team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody had somebody, and that's kind of how our league is. We're gonna recognize you guys, and that maybe in other leagues wouldn't get recognized.
Right. And that's important to us.
Yeah.
So we do have some breaking news, though. Some really breaking news. Some very surprising news. Don't worry.